What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Say What You Like Sports Podcast. This is the Week 15 Top 10 NFL Power Rankings. And let me just say, this may be the toughest week ever in the history of the podcast, calling the top 10. I mean, it's just tough to put my finger on the top 10 teams and get a good feeling for, hey man, this is the correct order. I mean, you have so many upsets in the top 10, so many injuries in the top 10, so many teams, dropping a game to another team in the top 10, but beating another team in the top 10. So it's like all out war in the top 10, but I gotta do my best, guys. Again, if you disagree with these rankings, drop a comment. Leave a comment. Give me your top 10. It's going to be hard to argue. It's going to be hard to keep certain teams outside of the top 10 and keep certain teams in the top 10. But alas, I do my best. Let's get this thing going for week 15, guys. Making their long-awaited debut on the top 10 in the Say What You Like Power Rankings, I give you the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I've kept this team at bay for the past few weeks, even though they've been pretty hot. Now, they've reeled off 4 straight wins, and now they're tied for first in the division with the Kansas City Chiefs. All they have to do this weekend to prove that they belong here in the top 10 is knock off the Kansas City Chiefs, which they have not done since the last time this team's made the playoffs. It's going to be a challenge for the Grizzly veteran that is Phillip Rivers, but if anybody can pull it off, I think it's going to be Phillip Rivers. So this is it. Make or break, Chargers. You want to stay in the top 10? All you have to do is beat that division rival in Kansas City, Alex Smith and the Chiefs. Let's see what happens this week, guys. It should be a good one. Coming off a big-time win over the New Orleans Saints, at number 9, I give you the Atlanta Falcons. Now, the Atlanta Falcons find themselves back to flying high, even though it was looking a bit ugly just a few weeks back. But now the Falcons are back in control of their own destiny, in line for a wild card spot. They are currently leading the wild card over teams like Seattle, Detroit, Green Bay, Dallas, who they also have the tiebreaker over. Washington and Arizona were just recently eliminated. The Falcons are just doing their thing in a tough NFC South, and all they have to do is win out, control their own destiny, and maybe they can get revenge for that sick Super Bowl loss last season. In at number 8, I have the New Orleans Saints. Now, the New Orleans Saints slipped a bit here, losing to the Falcons. I still had to rank them slightly ahead of the Falcons because this is still the NFC South leader for the division. They are still the number 3 seed in the NFC playoff race right now as it stands. But things are looking just a bit bleaker than they were a few weeks ago. Drew Brees suddenly seems to be getting old. There's questions about Drew Brees. Can he still get the job done? He threw the pick to Deion Jones on the last Thursday night football game. Deion Jones was balling out, but that just raises questions about Drew Brees. Alvin Kamara left the game with the concussion, with the helmet-to-helmet hit by, again, Deion Jones, who was balling out that game. But just reasons for concern. Kamara should be back. I don't think Drew Brees is getting old that fast. This team, now that Carson Wentz has went down with the injury, I think this team might be the favorite in most people's eyes to take the NFC this season. In at number 7, the 9-4 Jacksonville Jaguars. The 9-4 Jacksonville Jaguars, quarterbacked by Blake Bortles. Y'all thought it couldn't happen. Y'all said it wouldn't happen. This defense is overcoming the inconsistent quarterback play of Blake Bortles. And let me tell you something even scarier, guys. Over the last couple of weeks, Blake Bortles ain't playing half bad. I mean, they really threw the Seattle Seahawks off their game. They got a big win against a team that people consider to be a top 10 team in the NFL. I got them outside of the top 10 now, Seattle. And people, were giving me crap saying, why is Jacksonville on there? They're not a real contender. But look what this defense can do. It's no joke. And like I mentioned, Blake Bortles, he's getting better and better, building his confidence. I'm not ready to make them the favorites in the AFC, not by a long shot, but don't doubt what the number 7 team can do. They can make some noise. You turn your back on this team, they're gonna bite you. The second LA team to make the top 10 this week, at number 6, the Los Angeles Rams. Now the Rams are coming off a tough loss to the Philadelphia Eagles at home, but the Eagles are back to being the number 1 seed in the NFC. So look, there's no shame in losing to the number 1 team in the NFC. You know, these were 2 offensive juggernauts that went toe to toe. I don't think there's any reason to panic at this point if you're a Rams fan, because you still have Gurley. I think they could have got Gurley a few more touches in that game. They could have sealed the deal. They did have the lead on the Eagles in the fourth quarter, but they let it slip away. Goff had the fumble, and I guess at this point, my only concern with this team is we still haven't seen that coming of age moment from Jared Goff. He's got the stats. He's got a nice record. He's vastly improved from where he was last season, but we need that signature win, that signature play that says Jared Goff has arrived and he's going to be somebody to contend with in this year's playoffs. Coming in at number 5, I got the Minnesota Vikings. Now the Minnesota Vikings, coming off the loss to the Carolina Panthers, they take the L 31-24. And the 8-game winning streak is now over. But like I said, not much reason to panic still for a team like this. They're in charge of the NFC North. Aaron Rodgers is coming back. It's a bit scary, but the way this defense is playing, the way that Keenum is playing at QB, ain't no reason to panic yet. All I gotta say is I'm a bit concerned about some of the sloppy plays that were made. You know, it's just not a characteristic of the Minnesota Vikings team to, you know, have turnovers like they had this weekend. I expect them to get things turned around in a jiff. I think this is going to be one hell of a team to contend with in the NFC playoffs this year. Jumping way up to number 4, I have Cam Newton's Carolina Panthers. Now, the Carolina Panthers, they've been pretty up and down. Cam Newton has been pretty up and down for me, but you cannot argue with the results. The Panthers are 9-4 in the thick of the NFC South title, in the thick of the wild card spot. They own the top wild card spot as they sit right now, but they're not out of it as far as getting the division title and getting a home playoff game. So they're doing their thing at this point. Like I said, it's been inconsistent, but the record speaks for itself. Jonathan Stewart, he's starting to get his juices going. He's starting to move. He's starting to make some big plays. And that's the kind of running game that Cam Newton's going to need to lean on. Put that together with just a sick defense. And like I said, this is just another team muddling up the NFC. I mean, they can take it all if they play the way they can. Dropping down to number 3, I have the New England Patriots. Now the Patriots are coming off a loss to the division rival Miami Dolphins, and I'm not even so sure I can call them a rival at this point. Nobody rivals the New England Patriots when it comes to the AFC East. You know, they own that division, but you can always count on the Miami Dolphins to bring the pain when they play the Patriots. They always play them tough, throw the records out. They play this team tough, and Jay Cutler sneaks out the win over these Patriots. It looks like the Patriots missed Gronkowski more than I thought they would, but once again, here's the message for the week. No need to panic. You're a top 10 team. You have a showdown with the Pittsburgh Steelers that is probably going to decide who gets to play at home in that AFC title game this year. In at number 2, the Philadelphia Eagles. The Eagles emerged from that 43-35 shootout with the LA Rams to reclaim the number 1 overall seed in the NFC. But that's the good news. The bad news is you lose all-world quarterback Carson Wentz for the rest of the season. I mean, with Wentz sidelined, you are counting on Nick Foles to take you to the Super Bowl. And I like Nick Foles. He had a good-ass year with Andy Reid about 5-6 years ago, but that was 5-6 years ago. Carson Wentz, he was on a roll. He was probably the favorite for MVP So the Eagles are going to have a lot to prove if they want to stick around and try to make that Super Bowl run like we all thought they were destined for. Just sad news, even from a Cowboys fan. The number 1 overall team in this week's power rankings, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Now the Pittsburgh Steelers, they stole one from the Baltimore Ravens, 39-38. And I want to read a quote because it really hits home. We love our brother and we wanted to get this win for him, and I'm glad we did. That was Ben Roethlisberger talking about Ryan Shazier, who remains in the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center, the hospital. He underwent spinal stabilization surgery, and he gets the game ball. Ryan Shazier, big time player. He will definitely be missed in the playoffs, but as of right now, the Pittsburgh Steelers and Ryan Shazier, number 1 in our books here at Say What You Like.